Thank you very much for the introduction. So thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure for me to talk today here. So actually, I will talk about modified scattering for NLS, and this concerns the long-time dynamics of nonlinear Schrödinger equations. So I will present some joint work with Benoît Grébert and Éric Paturel, who are in Nantes. I also mentioned some contributions with Pierre Germain from New York University and Zahir Hani from Georgia Tech. So I'll just begin with the introduction. So the equation we want to study is the cubic NLS, and I will give some modifications on it later on, but I begin with the NLS on wave guide manifolds. So it's R cross T2, and I work on the torus, which is identified with R on 2 pi z, and the Schrödinger equation is the following. So it's I dtu plus so here you have the derivation in the variable in R, and then you add a Laplacian in a transverse variable in T2. And I consider the Cauchy problem with an initial condition in some Sobolev space HS of R cross T2. So the variables are are of the following form. So it's R cross T2, and we are interested in the long-time dynamics of this equation. And I will begin with a result of Hani, Posader, Tsvetkov, and Vichiglia, who have obtained a modified scattering for this equation. And the aim of this talk is to see the role of the resonances. And in the second part of the talk, I will study the equation with a random perturbation by a convolution potential, and I will show that the results are different. So let me first remind the results of Hani, Posader, Tsvetkov, and Vichiglia. So to begin with, I will give you the resonance system which is associated to this equation. So this is an equation which only concerns the variable y. So I will write it and then comment on it. So I give here a Cauchy problem. So it's G naught sin P. So if I identify a function with its Fourier series, so J is the sum of the G, T, X, and then the exponential coefficient of modulus 1. And this J has a Fourier transform from X to Xi, which is G hat. So G hat is the Fourier transform just in the X variable, so the variable which is in R. And this J hat has to satisfy this system. So as you see, the Xi here is only a parameter. So even if this equation also depends on variables in 3D, r cross t2, the psi here does not play a role. You can just see it as a parameter. So this is a reduced dimensional dynamics. It's only in 2D. What we want to see now is the link between those equations, and we will see that a precise description of these systems will give you the behavior of this one for long times. And here, this is the cubic nonlinearity, but reduced to the main resonant interactions. So those are the frequencies which play a role in the long-time dynamics on this term. The others can be cancelled out by integration by parts or by a Birkhoff normal form argument. This is the key step in the proof. So this is those are the main equations, and the spaces we use in the following are given by S norm, which is a HS norm in Y and X for some large n. In the following, n is large, say larger than 30. And you also need some localization in X, because this is typical in some scattering results. You also need some localization. And then I need a stronger norm, which is S plus. Which has the same features. Essentially, you add a few more derivatives, and also you ask that the function is a bit more localized. Finally, I denote by d naught is the linear operator. And now let me state the result of Hani, Posader, Tvetkov, and Vichiglia. So the first result they obtained concerns the long-time behavior of the Schrödinger equation. And it says that if you take a small initial condition in the S plus norm, and if you take a solution of the Schrödinger equation with this initial condition, then U is defined on R plus or even on R, and Hn valued. And you can find an initial condition to this system. So there is this G naught and a solution J of R naught. So this R naught is the resonance equation, such that U can be approached by G for long times in the following sense. So if you consider U naught an initial condition to this equation and U the corresponding solution, then it behaves like a kind of free evolution applied to J of pi ln t, where J satisfies this equation, which actually is a bit simpler than the first one. This is a modified scattering result. So if this would not depend on time, say if this was a constant element, then we would have a scattering result. But here, this is the modification, and later on we will see where it appears. There is also, I've obtained a converse result, which can be seen So it's a particular dynamics of the nonlinear Schrödinger equation. And this result states that if you consider any solution of this equation, then there exists U which satisfies the nonlinear Schrödinger equations such that this holds true also. And then you can construct particular dynamics. So let me precise it. So if you consider U G naught, which is in S plus and small, and J the solution of the resonance system, then there exists a U solution of NLS such that this holds true. And this has allowed them to construct very interesting behaviors. In particular, they have growing norm solutions. So as a corollary, they have obtained that there exists a U solution of the Schrödinger equation such that the Sobolev norm tends to infinity. Yes, in the following sense. So it's the limb soup.
Do you have a rate?
It's something which goes down and then grows, and I think the rate is log. No, this has been precised by Gardia-Kaloshin. So the idea is that such a solution can be found in this system, and this system has been studied by Saher and by CKSTT, who have exhibited some norm inflations, and later on, this has been precised by Gardia-Kaloshin with more dynamical system techniques, and they have precised the rate in log. So it seems to me that this is the first example of growth of Sobolev norms for NLS type equations with a local nonlinearity. So let me just give me just it's just a technical thing. Say how to go. So if you have studied this system, but so without the parameter, you have to do a little trick in order to add the psi variable so that you have integrable in X. As you see, you ask that your solution is localized and regular in X. And this system is transparent with respect to the variable psi. So once you have obtained the solution of this equation, so let me call the nonlinearity R naught, so which depends only on the variable t and y, or say, so y is the variable which is periodic, then you can define such a function. It's psi y. It's just here you use the scaling of the equation. And phi is a function in the Schwarz class. Because this nonlinear equation has a scaling, because you do not there's no Laplace term or no linear term here, so you only do the scaling in time. So you can scale with respect to phi. You add this function, and then if you ask that this is regular and small, then you can build such a function. So let me just give you some references about growth of Sobolev norms in dispersive for dispersive equation. So there were results by Bourgain for the wave equation. Then, as I mentioned, the work of Colliander, Keel, Stafilani, Takaoka, and Tao, who worked for NLS in 2D, and they showed that you can have inflation of norms. And later on, Zaher worked on the resonance system. And as I mentioned, Gardia and Kaloshin. Then I'd like also to mention results for so this concerns NLS, and concerning the cubic Szegő equation, works by Gérard and Grelier, and also from Wana Pokovniku, who had some growing norm solutions on R, on the real line. And they worked on the torus. So the two messages I would like to give in this talk is first that I'd like to show how the resonances of the nonlinear term dictate the dynamics of the equations for long times. And the second message is that, so I will comment on the method used by Haniposader, Tvetskhov, and Vichiglia for this equation, and to show that this method is robust and it applies to Adam models, as we will see. So the messages concern the crucial role of the resonances of the equations, and also the method of Haniposader, Tvetskhov, Vichiglia, which works on a large class of equations. So let's write it like this. So it's on product manifolds. So now I'd like to state our results we have obtained with Greber and Paturel, and this concerns now the equation NLS, but now I perturb it with a typical convolution potential, and we will see that such a phenomenon does not appear anymore, and so we'll see that the resonances have played a crucial role. So let me just give you the equation. So now I consider the linear operator, which is called D. So previously it was D naught. And now I replace D with D naught, sorry, with D, which is D naught plus a convolution by a potential V, and the convolution is only in the x variable. So this makes the following thing, is that you keep the same eigenfunctions with the convolution, and if you choose the Fourier coefficients of V, you can play with the eigenfunctions without changing the eigenmodes easily.
So
because
in the y variables?
Yes, only, yes. So this changes, previously the eigenvalues of the Laplace were the squares, and now it's the squares plus the Fourier coefficients of V. If I had put a product potential, it would have been more physically relevant, but then I changed the structure of the eigenfunctions. Is it okay up to now?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know, for me, anyone else can complain.
So the three frequencies are now lambda. So this is a new notation. It's so the squares. This comes from the Laplace operator plus Vp hat, the Fourier coefficient of V, and we make the following assumption on Vp or on lambda. So this assumption is satisfied almost surely. Is the following: it's a small diverser, small diverser assumption. You ask that the differences of the eigenvalues is either 0 or larger than some rate. So it is the following: lambda p, lambda q, lambda r, lambda s. It's the following.
I have
So-
a complaint.
You can.
It's Z8, because each P.
Ah, yes, okay, you are right. C2, 4. That's it. So this can vanish if P equals to Q, for example, or lambda r equals to lambda s. Actually, I think this only depends on the modulus of P. It does not play a role. I can see it's my assumption. So this can vanish, and if it doesn't, you ask that it is larger than some power of P. And U3 is the third largest among the 4 terms. This means that if this is small, you ask that then at least 3 of them have to be large. So this gives you a control. And such an assumption is well known and studied in the context of Hamiltonian PDEs, so for people studying Keim theorems and Birkhoff normal forms. So this is an assumption which you can prove that it is satisfied almost surely if you pick the VP hats.
This is also in an environment where P plus Q plus R plus S.
Yes, that's it. Yes. Of course, it's yes. You're right. So among the if they are resonant, that's why actually. No, okay. It's my fault. So it's resonant. Resonant.
Well, I would say just conserving momentum.
Yes, that's it. It's yes. It's not resonant. No, it's. That's it. It's P plus Q minus R plus S. I think that's it. Just concerning momentum. So such a control can be assumed. So I tell it again. So this can vanish, and if it does not vanish, then you ask that at least 3 of them are large. In the previous case, it was either 0 or at least 1 because we were playing with integers. And then the resonant system, so the counterpart of the equation R naught for the new equation is the following. So it's IDT J So it's the same equation, but now I have only this restriction with the QS. So I do not write every term because here you have the resonant terms are the following. That's it. So if you want that this exactly cancels, then they have to have the same length. So it's the resonant system, but you have much fewer terms than previously. Okay, because previously, I do not. I erased it, but you have a condition with the squares. But now this is a larger restriction. So this system is much more well behaved, and we will see that it does not exhibit any growth of solution. So you have killed most of the resonances, and as a consequence, we can prove the following result. So the result we have obtained with Weber, Paturel, and myself is the same conclusions as theorem 1 and theorem 2 with D naught replaced by D. And as a corollary, so if you consider an initial condition which is regular enough and small, then the corresponding solution of NLS, this one, let's call it NLS star, donc solution of NLS star, then this solution is bounded in any Sobolev norm, and you even prove that the norm tends to a constant when time goes to infinity. So you show that any solution is bounded, so for almost all perturbation by a potential. This is in strong counterpart with the existence of growing orbits for the unperturbed equation. So as you see, the resonances play here a key role. So if there are enough exact resonances, you can prove the existence of growing orbits. But here, with this typical assumption, you prove that any solution remains small in any norm. So I'd like to give you now a few ideas of the proof. And I will begin with give you some ideas of methods you can ask to or use to obtain a long time behavior of NLS type equations. So I ask how to get access to long time behavior of NLS. So one method you can use is the use of Birkhoff normal forms. So for example, if you work on T2, so let's consider, for example, this equation. So only on T2. So using Birkhoff normal form, Bambouzy and Greber have proved that if you add a typical potential, so like previously, you can prove that for almost all potential V, any solution remains bounded for large time. So say if you begin in some Sobolev norm, so it's also in a large Sobolev norm, then it remains small for times which are any polynomial time in epsilon. So this is in the spirit of the Birkhoff normal forms. Another type of results are the Keim results. So Eliasson and Kuxin have proved that there exist Keim solutions to this equation. So again, using a typical potential V, they have proved that there exist quasi-periodic solutions. So those remain small for all times, but there are only some tori. This concerns all small initial conditions, and Keim results concern some of them. Okay, so but for all time.
Solutions all time.
But for all time.
Solutions sometime.
So this is quasi-periodic solution. But the case V equals to 0 is open. So this is the picture in the context of periodic variables. But now if you consider, on the other hand, the equation on Rd, then you expect scattering results. So let me just give you an aspect of this. So if you consider the equation on Rd, or say R3, then you expect scattering results, and such results go back to Ginibre and Velo. And here the idea to consider product manifolds is to see situations in between. And this study has been initiated by Tsvetkov and Vichiglia for NLS. So in the case, so the idea is the following. In 1D, you have this dispersion estimate, so the L infinity norm in X is less than 1 over T to the power 1/2. This is the dispersion estimate if you believe to the fact that U looks like a linear solution. And then if you consider the nonlinear term like a potential term, then this should behave like 1 over T times U. And so either the dimension is higher or the nonlinearity has a larger power, then this becomes integrable and you can prove scattering results. And here you are exactly in the limit case, and actually the log term which is in this result comes from the 1 over T which appears here. So in some sense you could see if you have a stronger power, this becomes integrable, and here this to infinity appears like a constant, and here you see the scattering appear. But here you are just in the limit case. So now I will try to give you an idea so how we can make resonances appear. So in the part I call the effective dynamics. So we consider the profile of U. So you conjugate with the linear operator. Then the function f solve an equation where the linear part has been cancelled out. So it looks like this. So I denote this nonlinearity, which depends on time, by nt. This is an n of t. And in order to study it, you can do a Fourier decomposition, so both in the x variable and in the y variable. So if I take the Fourier from x to psi of the nonlinear term, this can be written as let me write it and then I will comment on it. So the Fourier, the product, the Fourier of the product is a convolution. So you have such terms appearing. Okay. So this is the, so here you have the terms, this is the Fourier, the typical Fourier condition, so the momentum. Here, those are the eigenvalues of the linear operator. And here is the convolution which appears since you have the product. And now let me give you an idea of the long-time behavior of such terms. So what you can prove is that using integration by parts, so you can divide by this factor, so integration in time. And actually, if this factor is large, then they will have a smaller contribution. And in any case, I can control them using the resonant assumption I made. So this will give me a loss of derivatives, but not more. So the first assumption is you can restrict to resonant terms. Resonant terms, which are lambda p, lambda q, plus lambda r, plus lambda s equals to 0. And this implies that p has the same length as q up to permutation. So this is what I had written previously. So p and q and s. Maybe it's just the good time to say it. So here I had the control. I said that I have to control by the third largest, and this plays a key role. You see, when you want to study multilinear terms, you are not allowed to hit the frequencies you want. So if you want to study, say, a term which looks like j of u, v W, and you want to make some L2 estimate of it. So to have a L2 estimate, you do it by duality. And if you have 4 terms, so A, U, V, and W, and you want to make a good estimate, so you do it by duality. So you are not allowed to hit a derivative on the first term because it's forbidden. It's a test function actually. So the first largest is not allowed. Okay, and the second largest is not allowed also because if you want to do the same estimate but it's some HS norm, then you would like to hit only on the term which has less influence. So the second is also not allowed, but then you can hit here, and here you may lose the derivative. I have denoted by gamma. This plays no role. And this shows that then you are able to obtain a good fixed point argument in some gamma norm. This is roughly speaking the thing, and this key estimate with the third largest was crucial and previously used by works by Greber and collaborators. So this was the restriction to the resonant terms, and the second restriction comes from a phase formula, a stationary phase formula. So here you apply the stationary phase to the phase phi is eta kappa, and so the state is stationary if eta is kappa is 0, and then this nonlinearity looks like, roughly speaking, when time is large enough. So you have this factor P1 over T, comes from the stationary phase formula in 2D, so the 2 dimension here, R and kappa and eta, and then you still have the contribution with eta equals to 0, so it's FQ hat of psi, R hat of psi, and Fs hat and psi. And here we have obtained the resonant system. So you see where it comes from. And you have the pi over t you can cancel out by a change of variable, and here you obtain the pi ln. Do you have some questions? Yes. So in the 5 remaining minutes, I will just comment on some other models you can study with such ideas. So such arguments also work on the product manifold R cross S2. So you take the Laplacian on a sphere. So this has been mentioned in the paper of Annie Posader, Tsvetkov, and Vichiglia. So this has been done for dx second plus the half wave operator, so dy absolute value. And this has been done by Haihan Xu. And in this context, the resonant equation, which is associated, is the Zeghe equation. And this allowed her to construct growing orbits also. You can also study systems. So this coupled NLS equations, and this is under investigation by Victor Villaça da Rocha. And with Zahir Hani, and Pierre Germain, we have obtained result for the Gross-Pitarewski equation, so which is an LS equation but with a confining potential. So you can write it like this. So you have a potential which is a square, and this equation is studied in the context of Bose-Einstein condensate, where we study a cigar-shaped condensate. And in this context, we can prove also that you have a modified scattering result. And the underlying resonant equation is also well known. It is related to the lowest Landau equation, lowest level Landau equation. And this allowed us to construct some particular solution to this equation also. So thank you very much.
Y a-t-il des questions? Are there any questions? Well, I had a question on how you got from the F on different parameters to the G on the same parameter, but I think you explained that in your last Blackboard. So
Tell me again. So
your equation for G, the equation
Yes.
R0 and the equation for R involve one parameter Xi.
yes, I did it there. It's just
Here, of course, it's a convolution of three functions, so there's two parameters, Xi and eta, but the stationary phase argument.
yes,
Means that you can allow-
it works the same. It does not.
So then I have a question about the R equation, which is not one equation, it's in fact a continuum family of equations. Each one needs a solution, is that right? Xi is a parameter,
Yes.
and for all Xi, the solution
Yes.
is given. Is that
Yes.
right? So you need resonance conditions which resist the parameter.
No, I only work on the equation without the parameter, and then I can transform to.
I see.
Okay, I do not work. Yes, I do not study the equation with the parameter. I do not have the complete description. I consider particular solution on the equation which does not depend on the parameter, and then I can add it after that.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
So I can do one parameter, one Xi or several Xi, but it's not always for all Xi.
it's not.
Right.
Yes, I do not see it like that.
You don't see it like I see it. Okay, this sounds like discussion afterwards. Does anyone else have a question? You've been working on your questions for the talk, haven't you? Okay, well, it's a long day. Thank you. A very nice first day, so thank you.